Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Legacy. My name is Noah Mitchell, and I'm the Senior Learning Experience Designer here at Legacy FM. So today, we're going to be taking a trip down to the atomic level. But don't worry, that doesn't mean we're going to be talking about the chemistry that you learned in high school and college. But we will be talking about reactions to the goals that you set for yourself in your life and furthermore, overcoming productivity obstacles. So, atomic habits is the concept that I want to talk about today. You might have already heard of this, but it's based on a book of the same name written by James Clear. And so, that book, Atomic Habits, was really a game changer for me in just jumping over some of the hurdles that I encountered when it came to my productivity and getting things done. And that's because oftentimes, I would have trouble looking at the big picture of a project or a goal that I needed to complete, and I would just shut down. I would think about the things that would need to be done, but for some reason, it all just sort of like mixed together, and I found myself like a deer in the headlights. And it was challenging, and even more so, it was frustrating because you know that you're capable of doing these things. You know that you're capable of getting these things done and getting them done well. And to not be able to sort of generate the motivation to just take that first step, it was really frustrating. Atomic Habits actually helped me. Now, I want to preface this before I go over a couple of things about Atomic Habits in saying that I'm the first to admit that I'm not perfect. I'm a human being and I fall off of the wagon a lot. So it's not that I use Atomic Habits all the time. But when I circle back around to it and my mindset gets put back on that perspective of like, hey, just do it atomically, it makes things so much easier to deal with. And I guess even in a way, I just realized this actually recording. I do a to-do list just about every day. Just write down all of the little things that I need to do. It works for me. I know it doesn't work for everyone. But in a sense, that to-do list is sort of like my atomic habits. And so I will break each thing down into its constituent parts, into little pieces, so I can get it done bit by bit instead of one large chunk by one large chunk. Again, that's not all the time, but I do my best, as do we all. So let's get back around to it. Atomic habits. What exactly does that mean? So when you start on a project, it's this giant, challenging thing that you have in front of your face that you know you have to finish. And usually that project has a deadline attached to it. That's just to increase the stress, right? And so in my life, in my personal experience, you look at that and it's like, oh, great. Where do I start? How do I get to the finish line? How do I even set goals in the first place? Oh, maybe it's easier to just kind of put it off until, I have the energy to do it, or it's like down to the wire and now you have to get it done. First things first, I don't suggest that method. That's super stressful. And yes, you will probably get it done, but you won't get it done as well. And just don't do that to yourself. So that's where atomic habits come in. The concept simply is that you take these bigger projects and you try to break them down into little pieces that are just so easy to finish. And we're talking at the atomic level, right? Such a small task that it gets you started. You sort of take a step in the right direction, and then everything from there just compounds over time because you're finishing little milestones as opposed to trying to just tackle the whole thing at once, right? And so this is actually what James talks about in his book, is that it's like compounding interest over time. A little bit of money put into an investment right now doesn't seem like much, but as time goes on, the power of compounding just amplifies and increases the amount exponentially of what you're putting into it. So when you do that with the tasks on your to-do list, you're basically tricking your brain into thinking that you're doing something a lot easier than the big picture. So for example, and I want to sort of take an example outside of the professional realm, getting into the gym for me was extremely hard, and again is extremely hard. So I might have to do some atomic habits here soon, but I just didn't want to go. My motivations from the past of going to the gym were gone. I've been injured in the gym. And so there's just a lot of factors there working against me not wanting to go and do that thing. But one way in the past that I overcame that obstacle was just to say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my shoes on in the morning, pack my gym bag the night before and put my shoes on in the morning. And so whenever I wake up, that's my goal. That's my goal with the intent of going to the gym. But hey, if I make it, great. If I don't, great. What you find is when you take that small step, that small atomic habit of just packing your gym bag the night before and putting your shoes on, you're more prone to go to the gym at that point because you've already put on the shoes. Everything's ready. There's really not as much of an excuse not to go now. And so that's maybe one example of it. So let's continue along that path, right? Well, now I make it to the gym. What's my next atomic habit? Okay, when I get to the gym, I will do 5 push-ups. That's it. I have no other plan for myself at that point but to do 5 push-ups. If I get it, great. If I don't, hey, that's it. What you find again, you go to the gym and you sort of do those 5 push-ups. Well, you've already started the 5, so you might as well do another 5. And now you've done that first exercise, which leads to another exercise. And before you know it, you've spent a good 45 minutes to an hour at the gym. So that's the power of atomic habits, y'all. And in the professional realm, you can see how this applies. Something like recording voiceovers, which is what a lot of us do in instructional design, can be as simple as saying, okay, I've got tons of voiceover files to record and I'm not feeling super great about it right now. But my first goal is, okay, let's do the first 5. That's all I need to get done right now are the first 5 voiceover files. And then you can take a break if you want. More often than not, what happens is when I just start on those first 5, I end up doing, 10 more before I take a break, get some water or something like that and come back to it. And man, what a powerful and yet simple method to get my work done. It's really been a nice tool to have in my toolbox. And so I won't waste any more of your time. I know that I've been sort of talking extemporaneously now about it. But if you haven't read the book, you should definitely look into it. You can get it on Amazon. And then, of course, I actually read it through an audiobook, so I didn't even read it visually. I listened to it. I really think that you'll find a lot of those concepts life-changing, especially for those of you who are more like me and struggle with your focus and productivity in the first place. So just know you're not alone there. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. Thanks for taking this journey with me today and for tuning in. We'll see you next time.